What's up, everybody? Welcome back to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hadfield. I'm joined today by Greg Miller,
Mascara,
Audrey Drake,
Coobling.
Colin Moriarty, and very special guest, Zach Scott, is joining us on the line here. He's a very popular YouTube personality, well over 100 million views on his YouTube channels. And he's joining us today because we're talking about YouTube and Nintendo. Nintendo has begun claiming ad revenue on user-created YouTube videos featuring its games, videos very much like the ones our friend Zach creates. So you do like Let's Play videos. Is that an accurate description of your work, Zach?
That is very accurate, especially on my Zach Scott Games channel. I do Let's Play videos mostly.
And you've been doing this for a while?
Yeah, a little over 2 years, I believe.
Okay. And so you do a lot of Nintendo games?
I do some Nintendo games. Recently, I've been doing a lot more because I have been able to record my 3DS, and they've been coming out with a lot more awesome 3DS games. So
Sure.
been doing a lot more Nintendo games lately.
Audrey's been playing a lot of Animal Crossing.
A lot.
just Audrey playing it.
I'm so sorry, Greg. Forgive me.
Well, so now Nintendo wants a cut of what you're doing. Is that fair?
Essentially, yeah, that's pretty much what they said in their public statement. Yeah, they want to claim the ad revenue from content featuring their content.
Mm-hmm.
So if people don't know the way YouTube works, right, is that you become a partner, you monetize your videos, and then
Yes.
YouTube puts an ad in front of your video that the more people watch and see that ad, the more money you get.
Yeah.
So now Nintendo is saying that they want the money if you're doing a Let's Play of their game.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting, Zach, you put it into a Facebook post today, and you said in there that this is different than a movie or a TV show. You're not really bootlegging it in the same way. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, yeah, I said that because some of the comments were comparing it to piracy, where you would distribute a whole movie or a whole song, and basically you're delivering that entire experience that the movie or the song has to offer. With a video game, I think the experience is going to be different for each person. There are countless possibilities that can occur in any one video game, and my experience with a particular game could be quite different than an experience that someone else has. And so if I'm doing a playthrough of a game, what you're getting is my perception, my reaction, my commentary, but you're not getting to actually interact with the game. I'm not distributing software. I'm not engaging in piracy. I'm just delivering my experience and sharing it with you guys or whoever's watching. And I think when I see something like that, it makes me want to play the game. If I just see a movie that someone is live streaming on some channel or something, I don't need to see that movie again because I've already had the complete and total experience that movie has to offer.
That's a really fascinating thing about this case is that video games are the only really, truly interactive form of art. So it's not exactly like a movie or music. Like, sure, Nintendo, obviously, they created the game. They have some stake in it. But, yeah, like you said, the user is also creating their own experience. So it's a really gray, fuzzy area. I honestly see both sides.
So the Let's Play video is a phenomenon that's come up, over the last few years, during this generation, basically. Is this Nintendo being out of touch with gamers today? Like a lot of gamers have become very accustomed to both creating and watching Let's Play videos.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Honestly, Nintendo generally tends to do their own thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of this from more companies moving forward. I mean, they're generally all trying to take more of a stake in YouTube and sites like that, so maybe they think that this will help with that. I don't know.
What do you think, Colin?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you get into the legal minutia of like what they're doing, they have every legal right to do something like this. The question really becomes, is it smart for them to do? And like Nintendo clearly is very out of touch. They really seem super out of touch in the sense that this is free advertising for their games, and while the 3DS is doing great, the Wii U is tanking. And so you would think that you would want, for instance, with Wii U Let's Plays, whatever, people playing New Super Mario Brothers, whatever, you'd think you'd want people to be like, oh, I've never seen this game, watch this guy play, and maybe go pick it up or whatever. People were tweeting at me today that they picked up many games based on Let's Play, style videos on YouTube.
Well, I mean, every day I get tweets about people watching the SimCity IGN Let's Plays I do, and them saying like, oh, I see how you do cities, I know I don't want to do it the way you do it, and like, you've inspired me to go buy it and stuff like that, so I totally see the fact that, it should drive sales.
Yeah, I totally agree with Colin. Like, I don't know if it's really smart in terms of they're getting rid of all their free advertising, but at the same time, they completely have the legal basis to do this. It is their content that they created. So.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of, like, Greg and I always make fun of it. We watch football every weekend during the fall, and it's like, you must have written consent from the NFL to reproduce anything. Because they're really serious about it. So, like, what happens is ESPN will license that, or ABC Sports, wherever, will license these things, Showtime, whatever you're watching, to, like, get footage of the games. But this is different because, people aren't like trying to like break down football games on YouTube and like the professionals do that on TV. This is really different because it's homegrown. It's very grassroots the way Let's Plays have sprouted up on YouTube and other, I guess, competing services. It's like a blunderous kind of thing Nintendo's doing here. It doesn't make any sense at all for them to do it because they don't need cash either. That can't possibly be the excuse. They're sitting on what, $15 billion in cash? Like they don't need the money from YouTube Let's Plays. It's stubborn.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up. Greg, you have some experience with monetizing YouTube channels. I mean,
YouTube.com, Game Over Greg.
Right? Yeah, like Nintendo's sitting on this huge war chest. How much money could they really see?
I mean,
from this sort of thing?
we talked about that Nintendo does their own thing, right? And they always do this, and we keep seeing it with their systems and their setups, and now this. And it's interesting to see the other side of it, right? Where when you're playing SimCity, it's like, oh, do you want to link it to Twitch right now and just stream it? You can do that right now. You see the PlayStation 4, they're like, there is a button on the controller to say, here it is, put it on Ustream.
Now, Sony hasn't mentioned anything about monetizing that content, but I guess theoretically they could, right? They could be like, here, go ahead and stream our games, and then we'll serve ads on it.
Yeah,
and
sure, but
pull revenue off that.
I mean, I suspect it'll be part of like PlayStation Plus in the futures with Gaikai and all that kind of stuff, where they'll start charging for it and take money off the top just so you can do it.
Yeah.
But like, Sony undoubtedly looks at this as being like, hey, share our game. You might even be making fun of it, but sometimes when you see a shitty game like Deadly Premonition or something, like I kind of want to play that game. It really has no downside to it. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Like that's like what's really frustrating about it. There's no downside to it. This isn't a company that needs money. This is a company that the 3DS again is doing well, but it's hard for people to do proper Let's Plays probably on 3DS. Most people, you can connect your Wii U to you have the whole setup over there, get those games going on your. It just doesn't make any sense, man. It's frustrating because like Nintendo just seems to be making confusing decisions in many different ways, and this is just the next one.
Yeah, to go back to what you were saying, Greg, I don't know if this is so much about making more money for themselves. I mean, how could it be? How much could they make from it? It seems more like they're just sort of putting their flag on this content, like this is ours, we own it. You don't get to make money off of it.
It's interesting to see them try to control the message, right? Exactly. That's been the big thing with all these Nintendo Directs too. They're like, we don't even need anybody else. We'll tell you what we're talking about.
They're even circumventing traditional medium. They want to very closely control their message, how their games are presented.
Zach, you make money off of your YouTube channels?
Yes, sir.
So do you see this like as, I don't know, do you stand to take a significant loss because of Nintendo's actions here?
No, most of my games are not Nintendo games that I play, and the ones that they've claimed, they've only claimed 7, and they all have very low views compared to some of the other Nintendo games, and also the other series I play. I play a lot of Minecraft, and Notch of Minecraft has made public statements saying that he completely supports gamers doing Let's Play of his games, and he thinks that's how it should be throughout the industry.
So I guess the question is, Zach, do you think Nintendo's out of touch then?
I think they're. I wouldn't lump Nintendo like as a whole group out of touch. I'm sure if you ask any one individual in the company, they all have differing opinions. I think what's probably happened is some subgroup of Nintendo has decided to go this path. They possibly maybe even outsourced this. I can't really imagine a Nintendo employee doing this, seeking out the videos and clicking, like this is one that I own and stuff like that. I imagine there's probably a group that they've contracted out to do this type of activity for them. That's pure speculation on my part. It could be, Miyamoto doing this himself, I guess.
I'm done making games.
I want that YouTube money.
You see him in front of YouTube for hours.
You've seen Epic Mealtime.
It's just the next step in like Nintendo making confusing decisions by like making themselves more and more of a niche. Like Audrey brought up the fact that like they're not doing an E3 press conference. They're doing like all these Nintendo Directs. They like want to control the message. You're preaching to the choir. You're like making it harder for people to find your games. You're making it impossible for people to like the fact that like you can make the opposite decision, for instance, and say like, I really like that Nintendo is super liberal with this stuff. They let you do whatever they want with their products and stuff like that, and I'm gonna go support them, and I like this game or this soundtrack or whatever. It's just very confusing. No E3 press conference, so you have a Nintendo Direct, so you talk directly to the people that already know your product exists and probably already own it. Then you remove Let's Plays from people like Zach's channels that might be Minecraft fans, or they might like, he might do PS3 stuff, and they're like, oh man, this, Lego City Undercover looks awesome because I saw Zach's Let's Play, I'm gonna go buy it. It doesn't make any sense. I'm telling you, there's no upside to this. It doesn't make any sense at all, other than the legalese of being like very strict with the letter of the law. That could, but that seems weird too.
Now maybe YouTube. Oh, go ahead, Zach.
Well, I was going to say a lot of people, try to bring up that I have no legal basis to stand on, and I would agree with them on that. But this issue hasn't really extended out into the legal realm yet because we're still entirely within just YouTube's terms of service. I agree to the YouTube terms of service. Nintendo agrees to them. This is YouTube's content ID system that YouTube provides Nintendo. And I agree that, if I upload footage that another copyright owner claims through their system, that this is how it works. They get monetized like that. And so I'm not ever claiming that, Nintendo has no right to do this. I think they do. I just don't think it's even really extended into the legal realm yet. And I don't know if Nintendo would want it to extend into the legal realm.
Do you think a revenue sharing model where Nintendo shares that ad revenue with the content creators would have been a smarter way to go about it?
I think it would have been smarter. I think maybe even reaching out directly to the creators themselves would be even smarter than what they're doing now, because it all kind of has just a cold corporate feel about it. I got notified via the YouTube system, and I don't know who to talk to. I don't know who to talk to, through Nintendo. I can appeal it if I want to, but I don't really want to go through the trouble of, attempting to jeopardize my account or my relation with Nintendo or anything like that.
Audrey, you follow Nintendo very closely. How are you feeling about them?
I mean, honestly, this came as a shock to me. I don't make Let's Plays videos personally. I make them for the site. So I'm interested to see how this will affect games journalism, our coverage of Nintendo. I'm interested to see how the fans react. They're the ones who will probably take this the hardest. From a legal standpoint, or just right or wrong, I think, they have the right to do this, but it's a little confusing as to why they chose to do it now, what they think they can gain from it.
Zach, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Good luck with all of your future endeavors. For all of you watching at home, stay tuned for more from IGN Game Scoop.